This load screen is like an entity in and of itself. It just doesn't want to work with anybody. It's that kid in the playground who's just like hogging all the toys. That's how I can best describe the StarCraft load screen. But all right. Oh, hang on before we start, because we were doing stupid ladder stuff. I gotta turn off mouse scrolling. Here we go. Welcome one, welcome all to the Xsplit day of casting. This is the Xsplit Duels, as I've nicknamed it. 2 best of 7 matches, both TVZ, brought to you courtesy of Xsplit. But in this first best of 7, spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, the green Terran player from Alien Invasion, Lillekanin.
And in the top right of Frost, we've got our red Zerg player playing for Team Acer. It is Paranoid.
Paranoid, probably the least likely guy you would expect to see in a show match, honestly. He's kind of flown under the radar. Honestly, I myself sometimes forget he's a part of Acer. He's a really good player, though, and we've seen him in the Acer Team Story Cup take down a couple of good players. But yeah, this guy's kind of been the, I don't know, just hiding in the corner of the room, so to speak.
Yeah, he's a capable player. I've met him, several times. He's pretty good, and maybe just not as active anymore. I checked his career history a little bit to see what he's been up to these last few latter seasons, and just maybe not as active anymore, but still part of Acer and still a good player.
Well,
so
to give him a little bit of credibility, guys, and again, I apologize in advance. I'll bring this up many times out today because this is the most exciting way I've ever had a show match brought to me before to cast. We cast these two play against each other in a best of 3 for the Home Story Cup European qualifiers, right? And it was the first game was alright, whatever. It was kind of good, no big deal. But it went to game 3, and all 3 games were pretty damn good. And the guys from Xsplit were basically like, "Look, you were pretty excited about that game. We really like the players. Let's make this happen again." So I was like, "Oh, well, okay. If you enjoyed them that much, I will absolutely go out of my way to find these two and get them together." And that's what we did. So, I mean, well, you might not know a lot about Lillekanin. You might not know a lot about Acer Paranoid, guys. Keep in mind that they were impressive enough to inspire a show match.
yeah, and that's awesome.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that.
Now, one of the things, too, for Lillekanin, we talked a little bit about him before the game started today. He's known to play a little bit of mech, granted, but he's also known to be kind of that weird ball, or like that oddball player who, he doesn't really have one strict strategy. One day you'll see him proxy a Marauder, the next game, immediately after, he might do 3-port Banshee. In game 3, he might play the standard Biostim, drop Metavax, all these things. So he's a very unpredictable player, but the one thing that I gotta say about him, and I love him to bits, but he seems to get stuck around 50 SCVs every single game.
Really?
It just feels like that's his Achilles heel. He's got such good build orders. His tactics are fantastic. His micro is never really too shoddy, but he always does seem to start lacking on the macro, especially around that 3 base sort of area.
Well, I guess in the end he's gonna have a lot of army supply.
Yeah, well, that's the good side, I guess. But Paranoid's...
Yeah, but yeah, it's not very effective. Effective, of course, but we have an interesting opener from him, though, nonetheless. I didn't actually see his gas timing. It could have been gas first, because he made a reactor on the barracks before any unit came out of it. So no Marine, no Reaper. So that was probably like Refinery before barracks, and then a really quick factory and really quick Hellions. But it was scouted by Paranoid, and Paranoid did open, 15 hash into quick speedlings, so he's gonna have the tools to deal with this. But we see Marauders with concussive shots on the way as well, and this is already looking insane. I've never seen something like this.
Right, so this is kind of a this is more of like a 2-base oriented build that you would see in the past. What I can only imagine is with the armor coming down so quickly, he's purposely doing this to try to hit a timing before Mutalisks are out, to go for that Hellbat Marauder composition that just bullies people down. Now, we saw a Liquid Bunny do something similar to this, but more in a macro style, less of a 1-base style.
Yeah, that's kind of 3cc. I mean, this is like a 1-base all-in, and like I'm not surprised to see the army here, obviously, with these Hellions and Marauders, but this is gonna hit.
Work. Like this
is gonna hit so early.
Yeah, I mean, Axiom's Impact has defended against builds exactly like this, but with 5 Queens, a couple Roaches. We got some extra Spine Crawlers coming down now, but the problem with the Spine Crawlers is they're not going to hold up much versus the Hellbats, much less with Marauders behind them.
This is so early, 6:30, and I mean, this is way before any sort of lair tick or anything like that. Like, he needs Banelings, and he's pushing it already. He has Marauders for the Spine.
This is going to hit at the perfect timing, just before the Spine Crawlers are done. Okay, well, the Lynx are going to try and get us round off, but as we see, Hellbats make quick work of them, pushing in here very forward. One of the Queens of the South about to go down, 2 Queens in the North, but that Spinecrawler is still chipping away at the army. SCVs were pulled with this, not to attack, but to repair the Hellbats. What a cool move. Spinecrawler's absolutely gone. Drones pulled off the mineral line, and this is looking like chaos.
And Marauders focus firing the Spine, nicely done there, and this is so scary. Like, what a weird attack, but it's
there's not a lot
working.
left, though.
22 Lings in production, so maybe that's enough.
Hang on, if he can hold position on this ramp with those 2 Hellbats, the Lings will never get down here to touch the Marauders. But if the Hellbats go down, the Marauders are going to die shortly after. So
when the Lings in the natural are movement, they're hitting the Hellbat. Oh, he just lost like 8 Zerglings to that Hellbat.
This is looking really bad for Paranoid, guys, but this is a build. You know what, like, I would put this right up there with 2 Raxing in terms of cheese. Like, this was, like, you just don't see this coming.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time though, Paranoid did get a lucky overload scout, so he saw it coming. But like, if you never face something like this before, it's hard to know exactly how to react. And I'd imagine the appropriate response should be like really quick bane lanes.
Oh my god,
like,
the drone pull, the desperation out of Paranoid here in game number 1, guys. GG.
Oh man.
Lillekanin takes game number 1 in a very quick, short, and exciting manner. To an extent where I imagine any Terran players in the audience right now are going to be going to ladder tonight and busting out this build.